next one.
I'm so happy to do this. Thank you very much, Danielle. Another one of our great charities that we help, and one of the people that has been just help, just so you get that real frontline, up close and personal story about where your money goes, the faces, the people in the community. I'm joined now. I've got Krista and Dale Ann from Havens Way. It's a part of the Safe Haven Foundation. Actually, Krista, I'm going to start with you. Can you explain just a little bit about what the program's all about?
At Havens Way, we have the privilege of serving young women that have experienced homelessness. So we take them out of their homelessness and put them in a safe environment that operates very much like a family, very much like a home, so that they can get safe and really start to focus on figuring out who they are and what they want to do with their life.
Is there like sort of life skills teaching, or is it just like a lot of mentoring? How do you pass that on?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's both of those things. Lots of mentoring, lots of life skill teaching. So our young women are not only exiting homelessness, but they're also transitioning to adulthood. And those are two very big hurdles at the same time. And so once we're able to get them safe into our home, we begin the mentorship, the goal setting, the teaching about what they deserve and what they are actually capable of accomplishing once they put their minds to it.
Well, if I ever get the transitioning to adulthood down, I'll let you know here. Maybe Dale Ann can help me here and say, Dale Ann, now you've been a part of the program. Tell us, how did you first come to the program? What was your situation? Where were you at in your life when you first came to Havens Way?
Okay, so I have a lovely date tattooed on my arm. It's September 28th, 2009. That was the date that I moved out of my abusive situation. I was homeless and in and out of other group homes for 4 months. I actually met many of Krista's friends when I was at Avenue 15 through the Boys and Girls Club, and they had seen this spark in me as a 16-year-old girl, and it was just this tiny little voice that said, she can give so much more and is so much more. And then they saw that and they were like, oh, you should totally go with Havens Way. We need to get you in contact with Krista. And I was just like, okay, how do I get in contact with Krista? And she was just, everyone was like, it's fine, we'll sort it out. And then so January 2010, I moved into Havens Way. When we did our intake interview, she basically used a whole bunch of probing questions, and the one thing that really stuck out for me is that Christmas my older sister had called me and basically said that I was going to be nothing and worthless and I was going to die on the streets. And I remember looking at Krista and going, I'm going to be so much more than that.
Yeah.
And I'm going to graduate high school. I'm going to go to university. I'm going to make something of myself. And she basically was like, heck yeah, you are. And so my tickets landed in the supportive roommate side for the first few months. And during that time, I basically worked my butt off, doing summer school, all these different classes. And then I got into high school for my last year, grade 12 in 2010. And I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get it done. And so I moved over to the supportive family side, and I lived there through all of high school. And, of course, I kicked butt and took names, naturally.
Yeah, you did.
And I graduated after dropping out twice from high school at the time that I was supposed to, which is crazy and mind-boggling to me. And then, of course, everyone was like, university, right? And I was just like, sure. And so I applied, and I went to Mount Royal University for a year. And during that year, I had a very stereotypical first year of university. I was out partying every single night, and I wasn't very serious about school. And I know that my family, I refer to the Safe Haven Foundation and everyone involved as my family because that's who they are. They were super supportive and helped me reconnect with my father and my stepmother, and I moved in with them for 5 years. And during that time, I remember just being very insecure, and unfortunately for me, my parents they're not the healthiest individuals. And so they fed off these insecurities that I had, and it just got to the point where I just distanced myself from my family, to the point where this year in February I got an email that said my house sister Katie had passed away. And when I first read it, I actually thought that they were lying to me. And I was just like, no way is Katie dead. No. And then they sent me the obit, and I was just like, oh, okay, I guess I have to go to her funeral now. And it wasn't so much like a thing where I had to go, but it was, okay, no, I had to go personally, because like this woman was one of my ride or die ladies, and I loved her to bits. And sitting in that church, which ironically, I've never been in a church since I left my abusive mother's house. And so I'm sitting in this pew, and I'm looking at all these family members as they come back into my life, and all I got was hugs and just that open love and the recognition of seeing me as a human being. And I think a lot of kids nowadays who don't have programs like Haven's Way or anything like that, they don't get seen as individuals. And that's really fundamental, because for me, when I left in 2009, I was so broken, because I had gone to my mother, and I had told her that I was in a very dark place in my life. I had already planned out several ways to kill myself and end my life, and all she said was, "Hun, it's okay if you take your life, I'll understand." I know.
Wow. So again, you just look at what you've been able to do. You take someone who comes to you as a broken child, and look at the adult that Dale Ann has become. And with the help of the Children's Foundation, what does the Children's Foundation mean to Haven's Way?
I mean, it means so much, and we're so grateful. We have such a deep gratitude for the dollars that are so generously given to us, because that keeps our doors open. It keeps us being able to serve these young women who deserve the life that Dale Ann is leading now. We have the opportunity to show them their worth, and then they give back, right? That's the exciting part. It's that return on investment. It's that, now Dale Ann is graduating from MRU and is going to do incredible things, and that's the possibility for all our young women when we have the opportunity to serve them, get them safe, and help them set those goals.
All right, so there you go. You're seeing now, just close up, what your money stays in the community. Marta Loop, in this case, for Haven's Way. Look at what happens with people, and the people that grow up in these programs and give back to their community. It sounds like Faisal Carmeli here. It's like, look at your return on investment here.
Right.
So it's a smart investment. Pledge Day. Danielle, thanks a lot.
No kidding. What an incredible story. Let's get that woman in public office. Like,
right.
What? Daylana, your story is so inspiring, because you're not the usual face of homelessness, and have been able to succeed. Did you hear the confidence in her voice as well? After having a terrible environment that she grew up with, fed with some terrible thinking about her own self, and what this organization was able to do, turn that around, her own thinking about herself so she could be successful. Guys, these organizations are little gems in our community, and I don't know how Betty Jo has managed to find them all, but we want to profile each and every one so that you know how your contribution is going to be spent. You've literally changed Daylana's life. You've changed the course of her life. And how many others like her can you change and help by contributing today? 403-974-8255. CalgaryChildren'sFoundation.com. We've got Leslie Horton as well as Matthew Conrad, who are here with me today to read a few more pledges out. Leslie, why do you help us out with this? I know you've got that big charity. We talked about it next week on Wednesday. We're so delighted to have you here. What do you get? What do you get out of participating today?
You know what? I'm sitting here, Danielle, and my hair is still standing up from meeting that young woman and hearing her story, right? And knowing that the power of one person believing in you is huge.
It
Whether
changes
you're
the course
a
of your life,
tiny child that needs some help with mobility, or you're a young woman who is broken and needs to have Band-Aids put on until her skin grows back. These organizations do things like that, and I think all of us that have a voice have an obligation to highlight that, and an obligation to say, what can we all do as a community to hold these young people up and support them until they can stand on their own 2 feet. And I agree with you, that young woman should be in office because she's not only standing on her own 2 feet, she's thriving. But that's because someone said, we believe in you. And that doesn't happen without funding for these groups, so that they're able to say, we believe in you and we can help you. And isn't that why we all do it? Isn't that why we all believe in the power of community?
It's absolutely true. Thank you for being here today. Matthew, I think this might be your first one. He's our, you will know him, of course, because he's our social media guru. What's your impression of the things that you've seen today? We're so glad to have you here.
So this is my first one, and it's, I guess, we've got Morning of Giving next week, so this is a nice primer for that, and I wasn't sure what to expect. I saw like some videos online this morning of everyone here, so this has been amazing so far, and to see all the donations coming in, the turnout so far. I've only been here 15 minutes, and it's been
and you've got a whole stack of pledges.
A whole stack of pledges here.
So
That's right.
Read a few of them out for us.
All right. So we have William Spencer, $100 donation. That was on
William.
behalf of his grandchildren. So thank you so much, William. Let's do Maggie Cahill, $100, and this is in memory of Lou Canary. So there's
Maggie,
$100
nice.
for Maggie. Thank you, Maggie.
Dave McKay is donating $77 to QR77.
I love it.
I know, and he is a challenge to all other veterans. $77. Dave says, can you meet or beat?
I love it. Okay, $77. That's the new challenge that is out there. All veterans, $77. I just can't even imagine. We've got thousands of veterans in the city. If everyone was able to dig a little deeper and give $77, what a huge difference you'd be able to make in people's lives. Okay, guys, we are going to read more pledges out, but I'm going to have to subject you to a couple of my favorite Christmas songs. I'm just in the mood. I'm just in the mood. One of them is Pentatonix, Little Drummer Boy.
Classic.
The other, of course, is Carol of the Bells, and I've been having Pat furiously work to find a version for me. It's a surprise to me which one's coming up. It's his choice. Pat, take it away.